The advent of the judgment. Therefore, behold, the days will come, and the times will hasten more than the former, and the seasons will speed on more than those that are past, and the years will pass more quickly than the present years. Therefore have I now taken away Zion, that I may the more speedily visit the world in its season. Now therefore hold fast in thy heart everything that I command thee, and seal it in the recesses of thy mind. And then I will show thee the judgment of my might, and my ways which are past finding out. Go therefore, and sanctify thyself 7 days, and eat no bread, nor drink water, nor speak to anyone. And afterwards come to that place, and I will reveal myself to thee, and speak true things with thee. And I will give thee commandment regarding the method of the times, for they are coming, and tarry not. The prayer of Baruch, the son of Neriah. And I went thence, and sat in the valley of Cedron, in a cave of the earth, and I sanctified my soul there, and I ate no bread. Yet I was not hungry, and I drank no water, yet I thirsted not. And I was there till the 7th day, as he had commanded me, and afterwards I came to that place where he had spoken with me. And it came to pass at sunset that my soul took much thought, and I began to speak in the presence of the Mighty One, and said, O thou that hast made the earth, hear me. Thou hast fixed the firmament by thy word, and hast made firm the heights of the heaven by the Spirit, that hast called from the beginning of the world that which did not yet exist, and they obey thee. Thou hast commanded the air by thy nod, and hast seen those things which are to be as those things which thou art doing. Thou that rulest with great thought the powers that stand before thee, yea, that rulest with indignation the holy living creatures who are without number, which thou didst make from the beginning of flame and fire, which stand around thy throne. To thee only doth this belong, that thou shouldest do forthwith whatsoever thou dost wish. Who caused the drops of the rain to rain by number upon the earth, and alone knowest the consummation of the times before they come? Have respect unto my prayer. For thou alone art able to sustain all who are, and those who have passed away, and those who are to be, those who sin, and those who are righteous as living and being past finding out. For thou alone dost live immortal, and art past finding out, and knowest the number of mankind. And if in time many have sinned, yet others, not a few, have been righteous. Baruch's depreciation of this life. Thou knowest where thou preservest the end of those who have sinned, or the consummation of those who have been righteous. For if there were this life only, which belongeth to all men, nothing could be more bitter than this. For of what profit is strength that turneth to weakness, or fullness of food that turneth to famine, or beauty that turneth to ugliness? For the nature of man is always changeable. For what we were formerly we now no longer are, and what we now are we shall not afterwards remain. For if consummation had been prepared for all, in vain would have been their beginning. But regarding everything that cometh from thee, do thou inform me, and regarding everything about which I ask thee, do thou enlighten me. Baruch prayeth to God to hasten the judgment. How long will that which is corruptible remain, and how long will the time of mortals be prospered? And until what time will those who transgress in the world be polluted with much wickedness? Command therefore in mercy, and accomplish all that thou sayest thou wouldest bring, that thou might make made known to those who think that thy long-suffering is weakness. And show to those who know not that everything that hath befallen us and our own city until now hath been according to the long-suffering of thy power, because on account of thy name thou hast called us beloved people. Bring to an end therefore henceforth mortality, and reprove accordingly the angel of death, and let thy glory appear, and let the might of thy beauty be known, and let Sheol be sealed, so that from this time forward it may not receive the dead, and let treasuries of souls restore those which are enclosed in them. For there have been many years like those that are desolate from the days of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and of all those who are like them, who sleep in the earth, on whose account thou didst say that thou hadst created the world. And now quickly show thy glory, and do not defer what hath been promised by thee. And when I had completed the words of this prayer, I was greatly weakened. God's reply to Baruch's prayer. And it came to pass after these things that, lo, the heavens were opened, and I saw the power was given to me, and a voice was heard from on high. And it said unto me, Baruch, Baruch, why art thou troubled? He who travaileth by a road, but doth not complete it, or he who departeth by the sea, but doth not arrive at the port, can he be comforted? Or he who promises to give a present to another, but doth not fulfill it, is it not robbery? Or he who soweth the earth, but doth not reap its fruit in its season, doth he not lose everything? Or he who planteth a plant, unless it groweth till the time suitable to it, doth he who planted it expect to receive fruit from it? Or a woman who hath conceived, if she bring forth untimely, doth she not assuredly slay her infant? Or he who buildeth a house, if he doth not roof it and complete it, can it be called a house? Tell me that first. And I answered, and I said, Not so, O Lord, my Lord. And he answered and said unto me, Why therefore art thou troubled about that which thou knowest not? And why art thou ill at ease about things in which thou art ignorant? For as thou hast not forgotten the people who now are, and those who have passed away, so I remember those who are appointed to come. Because when Adam sinned, and death was decreed against those who should be born, then the multitude of those who should be born was numbered. And for that number a place was prepared, where the living might dwell, and the dead might be guarded. Before therefore the number of aforesaid is fulfilled, the creature will not live again, for my spirit is the creator of life, and Sheol shall receive the dead. And again it is given to thee to hear that things are to come after these times. For truly my redemption hath drawn nigh, and is not far distant as aforetime. The coming judgment. For behold, the days come, and the books shall be opened, in which are written the sins of all those who have sinned, and again also the treasuries in which the righteous of all those who have been righteous in creation is gathered. For it shall come to pass at that time that thou shalt see, and many that are with thee, the long-suffering of the Most High, which hath been throughout all generations, who hath been long-suffering towards all who are born, alike those who sin and those who are righteous. And I answered, and I said, But behold, O Lord, no one knoweth the number of those things of which have passed, nor yet of those things which are to come. For I know indeed that which hath befallen us, but what will happen to our enemies, I know not. And when thou wilt visit thy works. The sign of the coming judgment. And he answered, and he said unto me, Thou too shalt be preserved till that time, till the sign which the Most High will work for the ants of the earth in the end of days. This therefore shall be the sign, when a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth, and they shall fall into many tribulations, and again, when they shall fall into great torments, and it shall come to pass, when they say in their thoughts by reason of their much tribulation, The mighty one doth no longer remember the earth. Yea, it will come to pass when they abandon hope, that the time will then awake. And I answered and said, Will that tribulation which is to continue a long time, and will that necessity embrace many years? The 12 woes, the Messiah and the temporary Masonic kingdom. And he answered and he said unto me, Into 12 parts is that time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part there shall be beginning of commotions, and in the second part there shall be slayings of the great ones, and in the third part the fall of many by death, and in the fourth part the sending of the sword, and in the fifth part famine and the withholding of rain, and in the sixth part earthquakes and terrors of wanting, and in the eighth part multitude of spectres and attacks of the Sheddim, and in the ninth part the fall of fire, and in the 10th part rapine and much oppression, and in the 11th part wickedness and unchastity, and in the 12th part confusion from the mingling together of all those things aforesaid. For these parts that times are reserved, and shall be mingled one with another, and minister one to another. For some shall leave out some of their own, and receive in its stead from others, and some shall complete their own and that of others. so that those may not understand who are upon the earth in those days, that this is the consummation of the times. Nevertheless, whosoever understandeth shall then be wise. For the measure and reckoning of that time are 2 parts a week of 7 weeks. And I answered and I said, It is good for a man to come and behold, but is it better that he should not come lest he fall? But I will say this also, will he who is incorruptible despise those things which are corruptible? And whatever befalleth in the case of those things which are corruptible, so that he might look only unto those things which are not corruptible? But if, O Lord, those things shall assuredly come to pass, which thou hast told me, so do thou show this also unto me, if indeed I have found grace in thy sight. Is it in one place, or in one of the parts of the earth, that those things are to come pass, or will the whole earth experience them? And he answered and he said unto me, Whatever shall then befall the whole earth. Therefore all who live shall experience them. For at this time I will protect only those who are found in those selfsame days in this land. And it shall come to pass, when all is accomplished that was to come to pass in those parts, that the Messiah shall then begin to be revealed. And Behemoth shall be revealed from his place, and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea, those 2 great monsters which I created on the 5th day of creation, and shall have kept until that time. And then they shall be for food for all that are left. The earth also shall yield its fruit 10,000-fold, and on the vine there shall be 1,000 branches, and each branch shall produce 1,000 clusters, and each cluster shall produce 1,000 grapes, and each grape shall produce a core of wine. And those who have hungered shall rejoice. Moreover, also they shall behold marvels every day. For winds shall go forth from before me to bring every morning the fragrance of aromatic fruits, and at the close of the day clouds distilling the dews of health. And it shall come to pass at the selfsame time that the treasury of manna shall again descend from on high, and they shall eat of it in those years, because they are they who have come to the consummation of time. And it shall come to pass after these things, when the time of the advent of the Messiah is fulfilled, and he shall return in his glory. The resurrection. Then shall all who have fallen asleep in him of hope rise again. And it shall come to pass at that time that the treasury shall be opened, in which preserve the number of souls of the righteous, and they shall come forth, and a multitude of souls shall be seen together in one assemblage of one thought, and the first shall rejoice, and the last shall not be grieved. For they know that the time hath come, of which it is said that it is the consummation of the times. But the souls of the wicked, when they behold all these things, shall then waste away the more, for they shall know that their torment hath come, and their perdition hath arrived. Baruch's exhortation to the people. And it came to pass after these things, that I went to the people, and I said unto them, Assemble unto me all your elders, and I will speak words unto them. And they all assembled in the valley of Cedron. And I answered and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, and I will speak to thee, and give ear, O seed of Jacob, and I will instruct thee. Forget not Zion, but hold in remembrance the anguish of Jerusalem. For lo, the days come when every thing that existeth will become the prey of corruption, and be as though it had not been. But as for you, if ye prepare your hearts so as to sow in them the fruits of the law, it shall protect you in that same time in which the Mighty One is to shake the whole creation. Because after a little time the building of Zion shall be shaken, in order that it may again be built. But that building shall not remain, but shall again after a time be rooted out, and shall remain desolate until the time. And afterwards it must be renewed in the glory and perfected forevermore. Therefore we should not be distressed so much over the evil which hath now come, as over the which is still to be. For there shall be a greater trial than these 2 tribulations, when the Mighty One shall renew his creation. And now, do not draw near to me for a few days, nor seek me till I come to you. And it came to pass, when I had spoken to them all these words, that I, Baruch, went my way. And when the people saw me setting out, they lifted up their voice and lamented, and said, Whither departest thou from us, Baruch, and forsakest us as the father who forsaketh his orphan children, and departeth from them? Are these the commands which thy companion Jeremiah the prophet commanded thee, and said unto thee? Look to this people till I go and make ready the rest of thy brethren in Babylon, against whom hath gone forth the sentence that they should be led into captivity. And now if thou also forsake us, it were good for us also to die before thee, and then that thou shouldest withdraw from us. Baruch's lament. And I answered and I said unto the people, Far be it from me to forsake you, or to withdraw from you, but I will only go unto the Holy of Holies to inquire of the Mighty One concerning you, and concerning Zion, if in some respect I should receive more illumination, and after these things I will return to you. And I, Baruch, went to the holy place, and sat down upon the ruins, and wept, and said, O that mine eyes were springs, and ye mine eyelids a fount of tears! For how shall I lament for Zion, and how shall I mourn for Jerusalem? For in that place where I am now prostrate, the high priest of the old offered holy sacrifices, and placed thereon incense of fragrant odors. But now our glorying hath been made into dust, and the desire of our soul into sand. The vision of the forest. And when I had said these things, I fell asleep there, and I saw a vision in the night, and lo, a forest of trees planted on the plain, and lofty and rugged rocky mountains surrounded it. And that forest occupied much space, and lo, over against it arose a vine, and from under it there went forth a fountain peacefully. Now that fountain came to the forest, and was stirred into great waves, and those waves submerged that forest, and suddenly there rooted out the greater part of that forest, and overthrew all the mountains which were round about it. And the height of the forest began to be made low, and the top of the mountains was made low, and that fountain prevailed greatly, so that it left nothing out of the great forest save one cedar only. Also, when it had cast it down, and had destroyed and rooted out the greater part of the forest, so that nothing was left of it, nor could be placed and recognized, then that vine began to come with the fountain in peace and great tranquillity, and it came to a place which was not far from the cedar, and they brought the cedar which had been cast down to it. And I beheld, and lo, that vine opened its mouth, and spake, and said to that cedar, Art thou not that cedar which was left of the forest of wickedness, and by whose means wickedness persisted, and was wrought all those years, and goodness never? And thou didst keep conquering that which was not thine, and to that which was thine thou didst never show compassion, and thou didst keep extending thy power over those who were far from thee, and those who drew nigh thee thou didst hold fast in the toils of thy wickedness. And thou didst uplift thyself always as one that could not be rooted out. But now that thy time hath sped, and thine hour is come, do thou also therefore depart, O cedar, after the forest which departed before thee, and become dust with it, and let your ashes be mingled together. And now recline in anguish and rest in torment till thy last time come, in which thou shalt come again, and be tormented still more. And after these things I saw that cedar burning, and the vine growing itself, and all around it, but the plain full of unfading flowers. And I indeed awoke, and arose. The interpretation of the vision. And I prayed, and I said, O Lord, my Lord, thou dost always enlighten those who are led by understanding. Thy law is life, and thy wisdom is right guidance. Make known to me, therefore, the interpretations of this vision. For thou knowest that my soul hath always walked in thy law, and from my earliest days I departed not from thy wisdom. And he answered, and he said unto me, Baruch, this is the interpretation of the vision which thou hast seen. As thou hast seen a great forest with which lofty and rugged mountains surrounded, this is the word. Behold, the day is come, and this kingdom shall be destroyed, which once destroyed Zion, and it shall be subjected to that which cometh after it. And moreover, that also again after time shall be destroyed another, and a third shall arise, and that also shall have dominion for its time, and shall be destroyed. And after these things a fourth kingdom shall arrive, whose power shall be harsh and evil far beyond those which were before it. And it shall rule many times as the forests on the plain, and it shall hold fast the times, and shall exalt itself more than the cedars of Lebanon. And by it the truth shall be hidden, and all those who are polluted with iniquity shall flee to it, as evil beasts flee and creep into the forest. And it shall come to pass, when the time of the consummation that he should fall hath approached, then the principate of my Messiah shall be revealed, which is like the fountain and the vine, and when it is revealed, it shall root out the multitude of its host. And as touching that which thou hast seen, the lofty cedar, which was left of that forest, and the fact that the vine spoke those words with it, which thou didst hear, this is the word. The last leader of that time shall be left alive, when the multitude of his hosts shall be put to the sword, and he shall be bound, and they shall take him up to Mount Zion. And my Messiah shall convict him of all his impieties, and shall gather and set before him all the works of his hosts. And afterwards he shall put him to death, and protect the rest of my people, which shall be found in the place of which I have chosen. And his principate shall stand forever, until the world of corruption is at an end, and until the times aforesaid are fulfilled. This is thy vision, and this is in its interpretation. The destiny, the apostates, and proselytes. And I answered, and I said, to whom and for many shall these things be, or who will be worthy to live at that time? For I will speak before thee everything that I think, and I will ask of thee regarding those things which I meditate. For lo, I see many of thy people who have withdrawn from thy covenant, and cast from them the yoke of thy law. But others again I have seen who have forsaken their vanity, and fled from refuge beneath thy wings. What therefore shall be to them? Or how shall the last time receive them? Or perhaps the time of these shall assuredly be weighed, and as the beam inclineth, shall they be judged accordingly? And he answered, and he said unto me, These things also will I show unto thee. As for what thou didst say, to whom shall these things be, and how many shall they be? To those who have believed there shall be the good which hath spoken aforetime, and to those who despise there shall be the contrary of those things. And as for what thou didst say regarding those who have drawn near and those who have withdrawn, this is the word. As for those who were before subject, and afterwards withdrew and mingled themselves with the seed of mingled peoples, the time of these was the former, and was accounted as something exalted. And as for those who before knew not, but afterwards knew life, and mingled only with the seed of the people which have separated itself, the time of these is the latter, and is accounted as something exalted. And time shall succeed to time, and season to season, and one shall receive from another, and then, with a view to the consummation, shall everything be compared according to the measure of the times, and the hours of the seasons. For the corruption shall take those that belong to it, and life those that belong to it. And the dust shall be called, and there shall be said to it, Give back that which is not thine, and raise up all that thou hast kept until its time. Baruch is told of his death. But do thou, Baruch, direct thy heart for that which hath been said to thee, and understand those things which have been shown to thee, for there are many eternal consolations for thee. For thou shalt depart from this place, and thou shalt pass from the regions which are now seen by thee, and thou shalt forget whatever is corruptible, and shalt not again recall those things which happened among mortals. Go therefore and command thy people, and come to this place, and afterwards fast 7 days, and then I will come to thee and speak with thee. Baruch's words to the people. And I, Baruch, went from thence, and came to my people, and I called my firstborn son, and the Gedalites, my friends, and 7 of the elders of the people. And I said unto them, Behold, I go unto my fathers according to the way of all the earth. But withdraw ye not from the way of the law, but guard and admonish the people with remain, lest they withdraw from the commandments of the Mighty One. For ye see that he whom we serve is just, and our Creator is no respecter of persons. And ye see that what hath befallen Zion, and what hath happened to Jerusalem. For the judgment of the Mighty One shall thereby be made known, and his ways which thou past finding out are right. For ye endure and preserve in his fear, and do not forget his law. The time shall change over you for good, and ye shall see the consolation of Zion. Because whatever is now is nothing, but that which shall be is very great. For everything that is corruptible shall pass away, and everything that dieth shall depart, and all the present time shall be forgotten. Nor shall there be any remembrance of the present time, which is defiled with evils. For that which runneth now runneth into vanity, and that which prospereth shall quickly fall and be humiliated. For that which is to be shall be, the object of desire, and on that which shall come afterwards do we place our hope. For it is a time that shall not pass away, and the hour cometh which shall abide forever, and the new world cometh, which doth not turn to corruption those who depart to its blessedness, and hath no mercy on those who depart to torment, and shall not lead to perdition those who live in it. For these are they who shall inherit the time which hath been spoken of, and theirs is the inheritance of the promised time. These are they who have acquired for themselves treasures of wisdom, and with them are found stores of understanding, and from every mercy have they not withdrawn, and the truth of the law have they preserved, for to come they shall be given the world, but the dwelling of the rest, who are many, shall be in the fire. Do you therefore, so far as ye are able, instruct the people, for that labor is yours. For if you teach them, ye will quicken them. And my son and the elders of the people answered and said unto me, Hath the mighty one humiliated us to such a degree as to take thee from us quickly? And truly we shall be in darkness, and there will be no light to the people who are left. For we again shall we seek the law, or who will distinguish for us between death and life? And I said unto them, The throne of the mighty one I cannot resist. Nevertheless, there shall not be wanting to Israel a wise man, nor a son of the law to the race of Jacob. But only prepare ye your hearts that ye may obey the law, and be subject to those who in fear are wise and understanding, and prepare your soul that ye may not depart from them. For if you do these things, good tidings shall come unto you, which I before told you of. Nor will ye fall into the torment of which I testified to you before. But with regard to the word that I was to be taken, I did not make it known to them or to my son. And when I had gone forth and dismissed them, I went thence and said unto them, Behold, I go to Hebron, for thither the mighty one hath sent me. And it came to that place where the word hath been spoken to me, and I sat there and fasted 7 days. Prayer of Baruch. And it came to pass after the 7th day that I prayed before the mighty one and said, O my Lord, thou summonest the advent of the times, and they stand before thee. Thou causest the power of the ages to pass away, and they do not resist thee. Thou arrangest the method of the seasons, and they obey thee. Thou alone knowest the duration of the generations, and thou revealest not thy mysteries to many. Thou makest known the multitude of the fire, and thou weighest the lightness of the wind. Thou explorest the limit of the heights, and thou scrutinizest the depths of the darkness. Thou carest for the number of which passed away, and they that may be preserved. And thou preparest an abode for those that are to be. Thou rememberest the beginning which thou hast made, and the destruction that is to be thou forgettest not. With nods of fear and indignation thou givest commandment to the flames, and they change into spirits. And with a word thou quickenest that which was not. And with mighty power thou hast toldest that which has not yet come. Thou instructest great things in understanding of thee, and thou makest wise the spheres, so as to minister in their orders. Armies innumerable stand before thee, and minister in their orders quietly thy nod. Hear thy servant, and give ear to my petition, for in a little time are we born, and in a little time do we return. But with thee hours are as a time, and days as generations. Be not therefore wroth with man, for he is nothing. And take not account of our works, for what are we? For lo, by the gift do we come into the world, and we depart not of our own will, for we said not to our own parents, Beget us, nor did we send to Sheol and say, Receive us. What therefore is our strength that we should bear thy wrath? Or what are we that we should endure thy judgment? Protect us in thy compassions, and in thy mercy help us. Behold the little ones that are subject unto thee, and save all that draw nigh unto thee. And destroy not the hope of our people, and cut not short the times of our aid. For this is the nation which thou hast chosen, and these are the people to whom thou findest no equal. But I will speak now before thee, and I will say as my heart thinketh. In thee do we trust, for lo, thy law is with us, and we know that we shall not fall so long as we keep thy statutes. To all times we are blessed, in this at least, that we have not mingled with the Gentiles. For we are all one celebrated people, who have received one law from one. And the law which is amongst us will aid us, and the surpassing wisdom which is in us will help us. And when I prayed and said these things, I was greatly weakened. And he answered, and he said unto me, Thou hast prayed simply, O Baruch, and all thy words have been heard. But my judgment exacteth its own, and my law exacteth its rights. For from thy words I will answer thee, and from thy prayer I will speak to thee. For this is as followeth. He that is corrupted is not at all. He hath both wrought iniquity so far as he could do anything, and hath not remembered my goodness, nor accepted my long suffering. Therefore thou shalt assuredly be taken up, as I before told thee. For that time shall arise which bringeth affliction, for it shall come and pass with quick vehemence, and it shall be turbulent, coming in the heat of the indignation. And it shall come to pass in those days that all the inhabitants of the earth will be moved one against another, because they know not that my judgment hath drawn near. For there shall not be found many wise at that time, and the intelligent shall be but a few. Moreover, even those who know shall most of all be silent. And there shall be many rumors and tidings, not a few. And the doings of the phantasmata shall be manifest, and promises not a few be recounted. Some of them shall prove idle, and some of them shall be confirmed. And honor shall be turned into shame, and strength humiliated into contempt, and probity destroyed, and beauty shall become ugliness. And many shall to many at that time, Where hath the multitude of intelligence hidden itself, and whither hath the multitude of wisdom removed itself? And whilst they are meditating on these things, the envy shall arise in those who have not thought aught of themselves, and passion shall seize him who is peaceful. And many shall be roused in anger to injure many, and they shall raise up armies in order to shed blood, and in the end they shall perish together with them. And it shall come to pass at the selfsame time that a change of time shall manifestly appear to every man, because in all those times they polluted themselves, and practiced oppression, and walked every man in his own works, and remembered not the law of the Mighty One. Therefore a fire shall consume their thoughts, and in flame shall the meditation of their reins be tried. For the judge shall come and will not tarry, because each of the inhabitants of the earth knew when he was committing iniquity, and they have not known my law by reason of their pride. But many shall then assuredly weep, yea, over the living one more than over the dead. And I answered and I said, O Adam, what hast thou done to all those who are born from thee? And what will be said to the first Eve who hearkened to the serpent? For all this multitude is going into corruption, nor is there any numbering of those whom the fire devoureth. But again I speak in thy presence then, O Lord, my Lord, knowest what is thy creature, for thou didst of old command the dust of Brutus to produce Adam, and thou knowest the number of those who are born from him, and how far they have sinned, and before thee, who have existed and not confessed thee as their creator. And as regards all these there, and will convict them in thy law which they have transgressed, shall requite them on that day. Fragment of an address of Baruch to the people. But now let us dismiss the wicked and inquire about the righteous, and I will recount their blessedness and not be silent in celebrating their glory, which is received for them. For as assuredly as in a little time in this world which passeth away, in which we live, you have endeavored much labor, so in that world to which there is no end you shall receive the great light. The nature of the resurrection body, the final destinies of the righteous and of the wicked. Nevertheless, I will again ask from thee, O Mighty One, yea, I will ask mercy from him who made all things. In what shape will those who live in thy day, or how will the splendor of those who are after that time continue? Will they then resume this form of the present, and put on the trammeling members, which are now involved in evils, and in which evils are consummated? Or will thou perchance change these things which have been in the world, as also the world? And he answered and he said unto me, Hear, Baruch, the word, and write in the remembrance of thy heart all that thou shalt learn. For the earth shall then assuredly restore the dead, which it now receives, in order to preserve them. It shall make no change in their form, but as it hath received it shall restore to them. And as I delivered unto them, so also I shall raise them. For then it will be necessary to show to the living one that the dead have come to life again, and that those who have departed have returned again. And it shall come to pass, when they have severely recognized those whom they know, who know now, then the judgment shall grow strong. And those things which before were spoken of shall come. And it shall come to pass, when that appointed day hath gone by, that then shall the aspect of those who are condemned be afterwards changed, and the glory of those who are justified. For the aspect of those who now act wickedly shall become worse than it is, as they shall suffer torment. Also as for the glory of those who have now been justified in my law, who have understanding in their life, and who have planted in their heart the root of wisdom, then their splendor shall be glorified in changes, and the form of their face shall be turned into the light of their beauty, and they may be able to acquire and receive the world which doth not die, which is then promised to them. For over this, above all those who come then lament, that they rejected my law, and stopped their ears, that they may not hear wisdom to receive understanding. When therefore they see those whom they are now exalted, but who shall then be exalted and glorified more than they? They shall be respectively be transformed, the latter into the splendor of angels, and the former shall yet more waste away in the wonder at the visions, and in the beholding of the forms, for they will first behold, the afterwards depart to the tormented. But those who have been saved by their works, and to whom the law hath been now a hope, and understanding and expectation, and wisdom to a confidence, to them wonders will appear in their time. For they shall behold the world which is now invisible to them, and they shall behold the time which is now hidden from them, and time shall no longer age them. For in the heights of that world shall they dwell, and they shall be made like unto the angels, and be made equal to the stars, and they shall be changed into every form they desire, from beauty into loveliness, and from light into the splendor of glory. For there shall be spread before them the extents of paradise, and there shall be shown to them the beauty of the majesty of the living creatures which are beneath the throne, and all the armies of the angels who are now held fast by my word, lest they should appear, and are lest held fast by a command, that they may stand in their places till their advent come. Moreover, there shall then be excellency in the righteous, surpassing that in the angels. For the first shall receive the last, those whom they were expecting, and the last of whom they used to hear that they had passed away. For they have been delivered from this world of tribulation, and laid down the burthens of anguish. For what then hath men lost their life? And for what have those who were on the earth exchanged their soul? For when they chose not from themselves the time, which behold, beyond the reach of anguish could not pass away, but they chose for themselves that time, whose issues are full of lamentations and evils, and they denied the word which ageth not those who come to it. And they have rejected the time of glory, so that they shall not come to the honor of which I had told thee before. And I answered and I said, how can we forget those for whom woe is then reserved? And why therefore again do we mourn for those who die? Or why do we weep for those who depart to Sheol? Let lamentations be reserved for the beginning of that coming torment, and let tears be laid up for the advent of the destruction of that time. But even in the face of these things I will speak. And as for the righteous, what will they do now? Rejoice ye in the suffering which ye now suffer. For why do we look for the decline of your enemies? Make ready your soul for that which is reserved for you, and prepare your souls for the reward which is laid up for you. The Messiah Apocalypse.